Hello everyone, this is Dushyyk aka Dushyyk and welcome to Dushyyk Writes. After taking a break for a few days due to personal reasons, today I am back with Sapiens, a brief history of humankind by Yuval Noah Harari. I'd like to begin with a short note about the writer. Harari first specialized in medieval history and military history. He then completed his PhD degree at Jesus College, Oxford. He is an Israeli historian and a professor in the Department of History at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. Yuval was a prodigy. Having taught himself to read at the age of 3, he started studying in a very special class for gifted children at the age of 8. He is a very intelligent man. And you can see that not only in his writing, but also in the flow of his book and the clarity of his thinking. Now for a short summary of the book. We begin our journey from the single cell organism and how they develop into being with complex living organisms. We are introduced to the early humans. It is explained to us how we are not the only humans to have evolved out of apes. Harari works within the framework of natural sciences, laying particular emphasis on the social sciences as the key and deciding factor in what we as a species did with our limitations. Harari writes about Homo sapiens' journey from the Stone Age to the 21st century in 4 extremely well thought out, researched and presented parts. He predicts a very grim future for the Homo sapiens as a species, and in pure mathematics announces a truth that all of us sort of knew in the corner of our hearts. When it is all done and dusted, we Homo sapiens are a mere blip in the timeline of the universe. Now for my review. It took me 19 hours to finish reading the book and it was quite a fascinating read. The good thing about history that in true sense of the narrative, it is a story. Anthropology forms the base of this book. It is a science and a very tough one at that. But credit to the writer, he has done a tremendous job of shielding the reader from all the boring stuff that only scientists and social science students find interesting. The book begins with a grim warning that we, the race of Homo sapiens, will stop to exist in the next couple of 100 years. As a reader, you feel that the remainder of book can only go downhill. But Harari does a wonderful job in keeping the reader engaged with his deep insights and wonderful analysis. The book is about a hard science, but it is written in a story format. The writing is easy to follow and there are plenty of visual references to keep the reader engaged. The story moves in a linear direction and you will not find yourself turning the pages back and forth to get a point. We often talk about a point in human history where we think we separated ourselves from our ancestors, the ape. Lot of experts have spoken about things like our ability to walk on 2 legs, the discovery of fire and our mastery over it, the innovation of the wheel, or the advent of farming. Harari puts the pros and cons of each of these arguments and later, giving his opinion, puts it down to our unique ability to think and communicate with our species as the focal point for the change. It is not the actual fire or the wheel that changed the fortune of humans. It is what they learned to do with it that matters. In the later chapter of his book, Harari also puts an argument in front of the reader. He proposes us to evaluate whether new innovations which were meant to make our lives simpler have really helped us to live a better life, or have they added additional stress and anxiety to the entire populace? He gives us the example of farming. Before humans settled down to form permanent settlements and give up their hunter-gatherer lifestyles for farming, they lived better lives. The land provided adequate variations in their diets. People would have to work less to collect whatever was required for the day to eat, and have more time to spend with their families and form strong social bonds. They were also adapted to live with nature and use it for their own advantage. Humans were less dependent on one particular type of crop for their survival. A crop which could easily get damaged due to untimely rain, too much sun, or disease. There were far less famines in the lives of hunter-gatherers than that of the farming communities. He goes on to explain how the internet and the computer, instead of making our lives simpler, have bound us in a circle of never-ending work hours. It does not matter what time of the day it is or where you are. You are expected to check your email or your text, and barring a privileged few, you are expected to react and reply. Not doing so immediately is considered as rude and looked upon as a sign of inefficiency. Harari is a vegan and the follower of Vipassana. While there is no influence of the latter in the writing, I personally feel he lets his vegan lifestyle enter his writing, especially when he describes the lives of the domesticated animals since the agricultural revolution. He has a point and describes it as one of the worst crimes in history. Harari also sees an imminent threat in pursuing the arms race and warns that through the progress in artificial intelligence, by 2050, we will have a new class of people, the useless class. People who are not just unemployed but unemployable. He calls for the human race to realize the threat that it is causing itself and wants nations to come together to solve the imminent threats of ecological collapse, nuclear war, and technological disturbance. The greatest put down to the human race by Harari, though, is his explanation of how wheat and not Homo sapiens is the most successful species to have ever lived on earth. Please have a look at the complete review of the book on my blog page www.dushyyk.com, a link of which is given in the description below. Please hit the subscribe button if you have not already, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get regular updates from my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your time.